What's poppin', yo? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're taking a look at something quite different. We're taking a look at a topic which I've wanted to talk about on the channel for a while, since starting up film reviews and show reviews again. It's about superhero fatigue, and basically superhero fatigue is a concept of superhero movies are getting boring and more impossible to make and make good. And part of me agrees with that superhero fatigue is real, and part of me disagrees that superhero fatigue is real. And we have a lot of people saying that it is real, and a lot of people saying that it isn't. Like some directors, like James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, The Suicide Squad, and now head leader of DC, is saying that superhero fatigue is not real. And then we have other directors, like the directors for She-Hulk, the directors for Miss Marvel, the directors for other Marvel projects, are saying that superhero fatigue is real, and it is getting harder and harder to make superhero movies. We've had so many good superhero movies as of recent, but we've also had so many shit ones, and we've had less films that are sort of mediocre, and people are more or less taken to if it's good or if it's bad, and there's no in between. Like, as of recent, we have had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Mutant Mayhem, which I am classing as a superhero movie. We have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, being all good superhero movies. But then we've also had Ant-Man Quantumania, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Black Adam, and so many more being really shit or criticized and people hating it. And I think there's multiple reasons to that, because looking through the past of superhero movies, some of the best superhero movies have been the Lego Batman movie, the Batman that was made by Christopher Nolan. All of those types of films have done so well. Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame did amazing, and all the films running up to that did so well as well. But that was because it was building up to something great, and it was just starting off as being superhero movies. But I think where it got to a point where we can't handle this much superhero content is because it's the same story format every time. It's the heroes going in, getting into conflict, coming out on top. It's the same formula, just with different heroes and a different splash of paint on it. That is why I think, for one, superhero movies aren't doing as well anymore. Number two is because of COVID, and obviously that stopped people going to the cinemas and stopped movies being produced for sort of superhero movies, and that made movie quality in general go quite far down, with CGI and so much other stuff going down in quality, and most stuff being rushed to put out. We also have the abundance of media coming out as well. Like, we have a good 5 Marvel movies a year, and then also 5 Marvel shows. And because Marvel is like a cinematic universe, you have to watch everything to keep up. It's getting too much for people, and it's all feeling like the same, and you have to sacrifice quite a bit of your free time to watch it all. And if I'm being honest, I'm skipping over some of it as well. I haven't seen She-Hulk. I haven't seen Secret Invasion. I haven't seen Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I haven't seen The Flash yet. And The Flash is one of my favourite superheroes, but I just don't have the time to keep up with all these different superhero movies. So it's making people pick and choose which ones they want to go see. And for example, using The Flash here as one of the newest films coming out, I've seen loads of videos on TikTok about it, and how the CGI in it is incredibly shit, and how it doesn't look like a well put together movie. For the Flash movie, it could be considered a completely different case, given the Ezra Miller situation that was going on with the Flash movie, and everything around Amber Heard for the Aquaman 2 movie. So those two movies are definitely dead on arrival due to the actors' inconsiderance and sort of interference in the public. So I'm going to put those two to a side and sort of skip over them a little bit and not talk about them too much, because it's, again, the actors' fault. that those two movies aren't going to do well, or haven't done well. But going back to Marvel, they're making too much content for you to keep up with, and it is majority the same. It's the same sort of scenario, the same sort of stakes. Nothing really changes, and it doesn't feel rewarding when the hero wins. They seem to follow a specific set of rules when making superhero movies, and a specific sort of stereotypes, character arcs, and plot points. And we do have the wheel of, story, where it goes the rise of the hero and goes through the sort of story. And as time goes on, we're getting more and more content, more and more movies, more and more shows, and they all feel the same. They all just feel recolored, reskinned, and reused and redone. And we have that with sequels and remakes of old movies because there is no new ideas being pushed or being made. And when we do get new ideas and we do get new stories, and we get good stories like Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, we're getting something new, and it feels fresh, it feels nice, and it's great to watch. But with these superhero movies, they're getting stale, they're getting boring, and this also could be because of TikTok, as we have lessened our attention spans because of the short-form content. I am finding it harder to motivate myself to watch shows and movies because I've been on TikTok too long, and I've broken that habit. I could never sit on TikTok for more than an hour because I felt like I was wasting too much time, and I felt like it wasn't rewarding, wasn't good enough. So I would always get bored after like a couple of scrolls and go find something else to do. But with lockdown and being stuck inside, I preferred to create the content rather than watch it. So I never really got stuck behind this short attention span with how some of the other people are getting stuck with a shorter and shorter attention span as the media are portraying it. However, nothing is perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. Everyone's unique perspective of perfect is completely different. So we will never have a truly perfect movie which everyone adores and everyone loves. But we can have new and great things. We can have nostalgia and have old stuff come back with the new movies, like Tom Holland's new Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, something fans have been wanting for a while. So I think movies and superhero movies need to be moving forward, creating more unique and creatively interesting stories for our characters and superheroes to go on, but also giving the fans what they want. Not everything they want, because fans also can't decide. Just look at the Star Wars fandom. They are all over the place. But also, I'm not saying give us everything we desire. That's too much and you'd have a very boring movie. But give us something. Whereas I think this new Deadpool movie is going to go way too far. We've heard of all the cameos and crossovers that the Deadpool movie is doing. I love the multiverse, I love dimensions, that's my whole shtick, that's what I'm into, that's what I'm interested in. But I think the Deadpool movie is going to take it too far. They're going to try and cram in as many cameos as possible, and I think it's going to bring down the movie as a whole. But superheroes, we can still have good superhero movies, we've proved that. We just need good story and good direction from these directors, from these writers, from these actors, to make it a lot more interesting, fun, and heartfelt to watch. Sometimes you can have a serious superhero movie, like the newest Batman. Everyone loved that one. It didn't need to be all bright, colourful, happy, and joyful. We can have sort of dark and gritty superhero movies. Hollywood just needs to sort of shift their focus on trying to copy this Christopher Nolan Batman movie plot, because that is what sparked off superhero movies. That is what made superhero movies go big and go great and go onto the big screen and become a household name. But it's been 10 years now. 10, 12 years since that movie came out. We need to be adapting. We can't just stick with the same plot and hope it sticks. because you're using the same plot points, but giving us an overabundance of it. There is too much superhero content to keep up with, and there is too much of it being the same. And that will bring down your franchise. With Marvel, people are going to be less trusting, less willing to go watch new movies, and that is because the recent amount of movies have been terrible. And Disney is just trying to push them out for money. Disney is pushing all the focus onto Marvel and Star Wars, pushing out new content, and pushing out so much new content that it's literally overflowing and overstimulating us as viewers to watch it. Because we don't have the time. And again, with shorter attention spans, moving to series, you get a longer runtime, but some of the shows that you're putting out could have been a movie. I've seen a lot of critics talk about Secret Invasion, saying how it could have been easily done as a movie and didn't need to be a full feature-length series. And I've not seen Secret Invasion, so I can't talk about my opinion on it. But I do agree. Some shows could be made as a movie and it would work out a lot better. Like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series could have been a great movie. That would have been a wonderful movie to go back to the cinemas to see. But no, you stretched it out to make a series that sort of had a couple of flop episodes, but a really good story overall. Superhero fatigue. Is it real? Kind of. Because we can still have good superhero movies, but we also have bad ones. It's not the movies themselves, it's the writing, the directing, and the stories. It's not superheroes being overdone, it's the stories you're telling with the superheroes being overdone. Because look at The Boys. That is an obscure take on superheroes, and that is doing so well. It's got a season 4 coming out soon. Invincible, an animated superhero show. Again, an obscure take on superheroes with a trope of being an evil Superman. That trope is also getting overdone, and they need to be careful with doing that, because DC have their own evil Superman. We now have Invincible with an evil Superman and The Boys with an evil Superman. It is a good trope to have, but it can be overdone, and we are borderline on having too many of these stories where a superhero goes rogue. Because we also had a Netflix original series, I forgot what it was called, where they had an evil Superman and it flopped. So it's not specific points that make a good show. Like, you can't just have an evil Superman and expect it to be great because it's like Omni-Man or it's like Homelander. You can't just have old Spider-Man coming in to make it a good movie. You can't have all these random celebrity cameos to make it a good movie. You need a creative, compelling, heartfelt story that makes the audience feel something and care about the character. You need to write the characters in such a way to make them sort of have a connection to the audience and have a connection to the viewers watching the movies and feel like they're actually in the movie. And I'm not a director, I'm not a writer, I don't know how to do this, but with the directors, they should know how to do this. It's their job. It's not my job to write the movies. I'm just saying there is better ways to make movies and to improve the superhero movie scene before it's too late and before we have to give up on superhero movies because people just aren't watching them. I love superhero movies. Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy are what got me into Marvel because I was a DC kid. I was a DC boy. And Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man were so good when they originally came out back in 2015, 2014. And they got me into Marvel, and I've watched them grow, and they've grown in such a way that Ant-Man is now a terrible hero and got terrible movies, but Guardians of the Galaxy has one of the best Marvel movies in a while. Everyone liked No Way Home, but that was because of nostalgia. If you watch it now after seeing everything about it, it's not that good. It's like a mediocre movie. You also have to market your movie in such a way to make people want to go see it. Because with Aquaman, Warner Brothers have already said they're giving up on marketing. They've released 1 or 2 trailers and that's it. That's all they're doing for it. Because they feel like they're going to lose out on money due to James Gunn rebooting DC, and also The Flash flopped. Blue Beetle was a good movie. Blue Beetle was a good superhero movie. So DC is still being hit and miss, but they are going to get better. Hopefully with James Gunn's new format. So I'm going to leave you all with my final message of superhero fatigue is not real. We just need better stories and better writers on these superhero movies to make them more interesting. Because currently they're dry and boring and all feel the same. So we need better, more creative, more interesting stories and more interesting characters. And hopefully we'll get that soon. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this YouTube video. See you all next one. Have a nice day and goodbye. Stay home and stay safe.